Oh, good evening, everybody. I hope you are all doing well. As always, please just bear with me as I double check to make sure everything appears to be working. And from what I can tell, it is. It looks like everything's working because as we all know by now, whenever I don't check and even sometimes when I do, that's when shit decides to not work. And But OBS does seem to recognize my microphone today, so that's a positive. So, unfortunately, yesterday's stream, I did have to kind of neuter it in the editing tool on YouTube. So the VOD is unfortunately is going to have a lot of bits chopped out and muted, but that's just the unfortunate reality of copyright stuff, where I chose to do that instead of fighting it for a month. So those of you watching on YouTube will know, the today's anime is going to be 1972's Devilman. This is one I don't know a whole lot about, although I did read the blurb. But I did see a few episodes of Devilman Crybaby. I don't know if that's related. I imagine it is, but I don't know for sure. I thought that was interesting. But I don't know how that stacks up to the original. So I'm excited to give this a shot. Let me pull it up real quick. Okay, do that. Okay, so let's see. So Lupin the Third was fun yesterday. Yeah, again, like I said yesterday, still probably gonna be putting it at either a low A tier or high B tier. But yeah, let's check out Devilman. I do know that I did read the blurb, so I do know that it's about a devil who possesses a dead human and ends up going against the other demons in hell because he falls for a human girl. So that's about all I know about it. Okay. OP a lot. It's fun. I will say in general, I do generally like storytelling music. I like, yeah, again, I like it when musical lyrics, again, they tell a story and aren't just poetry, essentially. Not to say that I don't like other types of music as well, but hearing them just talk about Devilman, what he's doing, yeah, this kind of tickles me in the right ways. Okay. Yeah, I do. I like this a lot already. I mean, we haven't gotten to the show itself, but I do like the OP. I like these. Almost feels like one of those '80s cartoons that you'd see in the West, like the ones that were like that always were based on a line of toys. You know, like those a bunch Smurfs, Transformers, all these things that were designed to basically sell toys to kids. This is the kind of The blurb was the summary I read was a little bit misleading. The summary made it seem like they died in an accident, and then that's how he possessed the body. But it looks like they actually just straight up killed him. We'll say well, this is a fun scene. Like I actually really like the choreography of this fight scene. It does kind of lack impact and also kind of lacks just like it just feels like it's slower paced than it should be, but it's entertaining enough that I don't actually. A lot of these older anime, even the ones that are meant to be kind of kid friendly, which I don't know if this one is, which actually based on what I've seen of Devilman Crybaby, it's probably not a kid friendly show, but a lot of these older anime, like they start out really brutally, like a lot of death. Like even if we go back to Big X, which I know I complain about that one from watching that, but because I didn't really like it, but even Big X started out with in the first like minute it showed Hitler shooting himself in the head. So yeah, that just seems to be a there. They're trying to set it up as oh yeah, the demon has a completely different personality than the original Akira, but also he was going on this mountain climbing expedition, so he can't have been that timid and scared. Let me put it back a little bit. Just see it like that. I like shots like this where you can actually see his hair kind of mimicking the silhouette of his actual devil persona. That's a nice little touch. Is that he falls in love with the girl, and that's why he ends up going against his the other demons in hell, and that's just the core premise of this show. But so I like how even before they actually kind of get into the swing of things, they already set up pretty effectively how he despite his personality, he does have a soft spot for the girl, and how he's willing to basically be an asshole to anybody but her. I like that. Japanese spiritual words, because for those who don't know in the audience, things like demon and devil are kind of a little infamous as when it comes to Japanese to English translations, just because Japanese has four words that commonly translate to demon in English, where there's oni, yokai, akuma, and mazoku, and they all mean different things, and only one of them is even kind of comparable to what we think of when we hear the word demon, which would be akuma. So it's interesting. So they did reference that just from hearing the voiceover. I can know that the Devilman and all those, they're considered Akuma, which are again pretty close to demons, in the supernatural evil entity sense. But then the apparition, he introduced himself as a yokai, which is essentially a Japanese mythological spirit creature thing. It's a little bit complicated, and I don't even fully understand it. Hey, Alan, welcome. Uh, yeah, I'm already kind of rambling about the translation, the interesting translation choices. So yeah, so that guy Henga, I think he said his name was, introduced himself as a yokai, and they translated that to apparition. So I do like that they actually differentiated between yokai and akuma in the English translation, to because they do mean different things, even though they both typically translate to demon in English. They chose apparition instead of demon, so I do like that. That's a nice little touch. And the more I'm watching this, the more I am starting to think that this does not actually seem to have any connection to Devilman Crybaby, unless it's like in the most superficial sense. Because I again I've seen a few episodes of Crybaby, but there's just very different vibes. About that, you set somebody up for that joke. Come on. show. I didn't really know what to expect, but yeah, this is not what I would have expected, but yeah, it's fun. Okay, that's a cool design. I like that a lot, actually. The wings sprouting from the head.
ついぞ味わったことのないものが俺の心の中に流れた。デーモンがなんだ？デビルマン、デーモン族にお帰り。さもないと。
Okay.
シレーヌの魔の爪は闇に紛れて忍び寄る。
Okay. Yeah, I like the interest. It's an interesting mix of superhero and horror. That could actually be pretty interesting. I'm curious to see where they go with it. Like, is this a teaser for the next episode? It feels like it is, but it's also going on longer than I would think. Okay, so that is a teaser for the next episode. That lasted a long time compared to what we've seen in the past couple anime. Okay. So yeah, let's get it. I'm ready to get started on the next episode. I'm liking this so far. Honestly, I gotta say, the past number of anime we've watched, from let me just pull up the list. Yeah, everything from we're 1972 now. Everything from 1966 to here is like been really a lot of fun so far. So, I mean, it's really on a roll. So, again, I'm hoping this can keep that up. And I'm gonna skip that just to prevent copyright issues because the OPs have been getting hit. fact that, I see here they got the furigana on the kanji. That makes me think that this might actually have been meant for kids to be, and not necessarily like a kids show, but for something that kids can watch with the family. Which, okay, that's interesting because actually, come to think of it, aside from that, like a few isolated moments, it's actually a lot less brutal than I initially thought it was. But okay, so yeah, I guess this is meant to be kind of, I don't know, family friendly is probably not the right word, but something that the kids can watch with the episode in the teaser. So I think I'm going to skip the teaser when I get to the at the end of here. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I watched a few episodes of Devilman Crybaby, and I mean, the tone is just so radically different from what this is, and I only kind of half understood what was going on, and I also dropped it after a couple episodes. Although that was for a variety of reasons beyond just not caring for it a whole lot. But yeah, I can believe that you'd probably have to check out Devilman before Crybaby, just because Crybaby is kind of where everything's already established, and also it is just. I think this Devilman does feel a lot more approachable, but yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Aside from, if it wasn't for the name, I wouldn't even think the two were connected because, again, Crybaby is just such a is a much more adult oriented show. Like, I mean, in just a couple episodes I watched, the amount of titties that dropped in there was like, holy shit. But I don't know if it'll get an answer or not. I'm just wondering how much of his devil personality or his devilness, what that actually does to the physical body of Akira, because he does mention that it's the transformation that where he gets to his full power, but he also is on several occasions shown to do things that are just kind of unnatural levels of athleticism or endurance. Because like, again, he just kind of jumped out of a second floor story window with really no consequence. So I wonder what the limits of that are. a person getting powered up by a devil, and it's more like just the devil took over a dead body. And okay, and granted, that's also not like even remotely the end of demonic possession empowerment things in 40k, since it's just a normal thing for chaos cultists to just kind of shove demons into things to make them go better. time we've seen an anime have these guardrails, these steel guardrails that like those things are actually pretty heavy duty in the real world. But the people just at the slightest tap, they just break apart. Like I mean that happened in Speed Racer, Cyborg 009. Well, my cat just darted past. Holy shit, that was fast. Sorry. Yeah. There was Speed Racer, Cyborg 009. I know it happened a couple other times. Yeah. Oh, you Lupin definitely, and I don't know. There had to have been one more, but yeah, it's funny that this has just become a thing that seems to happen in every anime we watch. a lot of these action sequences, uh, even though the animation isn't quite up to the level I would have liked to see, it's very much like it's well choreographed, well designed. They clearly put a lot of thought into how they wanted to frame each scene and what they wanted to do with them. So yeah, I'm actually very impressed by this. It's one of these. This seems like one of those shows that's kind of hiding a lot of talent and skill beyond a kind of campy exterior. I'm gonna skip that. The rest is gonna be the teaser, so I'm not gonna watch that. But yeah, let's go to the next. Yeah, I'm really liking this so far. Actually, this is another one that I might end up watching on my own after getting through all the anime for the tier list. Oh, oh, this one doesn't actually have a skip intro. the core concept is that Devilman possessed a human. He killed the human, took over his body, but ended up falling in love with a human girl. So he's fighting up against the demons, who the demons are sending people to try to kill him, basically. And this is one of the this episode's villain. It seems to be a very monster of the week type of situation, and it takes a lot of tone and aesthetics from both superhero media and horror. Honestly, so far it's a lot of fun. I do like it a lot. And I will say, it's like, it is kind of campy on its surface, but there's actually a lot of thought that's going into this series. Like, I can tell that the people who made this, like, actually, like, they really gave a shit. Yes, I am. So essentially, what I'm doing is, I don't know if you've seen the original tier list or not, but their core concept was to, they essentially watched the first episode of like the most popular anime, or what they said was the most popular. I think they just kind of generated a Chat GPT list of anime from 1961, I think it was the earliest one, all the way to 2025. They and ultimately their video was really bad, but I'm essentially going to do that, except I'm watching 3 episodes of each anime, and then I'm gonna, once I'm through with all that, and I'm gonna do the watching on stream. Once I get through everything, then I'm gonna make it into a full video. So essentially, I kind of like the core idea of what they're going with. I'm like, I basically, I watched that video and watched the reaction to that video, and people said, and I kind of said, you know what? I think I could do this, but actually do it well. If talking about the major criticisms of the tier list itself, I mean, honestly, the rankings were the thing that bothered me the least about it. It was overall just their overall approach to things, where they didn't really actually pay attention to a lot of the shows. They just kind of had their knee-jerk reactions to it. Like a lot of the old stuff, they just kind of looked at it and said, "Oh yeah, that's bad, F tier." They also just clearly just didn't care about making good content out of that. Like, for example, let me see. Like at one point they for, I think it was for Inuyasha, they the version they downloaded, that they got for their video, it had Spanish subtitles, so like none of them could actually understand it, and instead of just finding a version in English, they just watched the Spanish version and then gave it low ranking because they couldn't understand it. And they did that like more than once. So yeah, things like that. Yeah, and they didn't know Goku had a tail. That's the moment that kind of gets memed on a lot. And I will say, a little bit of a spoiler warning, but I am definitely going to. My video is not going to be poking too much fun at them, but there is going to be like a few jabs here and there. The Goku and tail thing is going to be one thing I point out, and I actually do kind of have a stream. I'm going to like manufacture a stream clip that I'm going to then include in the video, and I'm excited for that one because I think it's going to be funny, and it's also going to be funny because it's going to bait people who haven't seen the original video and aren't going to know that it's a joke. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with that one. But yeah, overall, just everything about that video, from the approach itself to the fact that they didn't even bother to kind of do basic due diligence. They also had very much like zoomer editing, like the Mr. Beastification thing, and it was yeah. I mean, honestly, when it comes to the TheAnimeMen's video, I think it would be fine for them to have the opinions they have. I just want them to have them for the right reasons. Like, for example, I actually largely agree with them on Big X. I really didn't like Big X, but they disliked it for the wrong reasons, essentially. They didn't even say anything about it. And also, this is just a personal thing for me, just because from anyone of you who watch my videos regularly, you know that my whole like thing on YouTube is talking about the writing of whatever it is I cover. Writing is kind of like something I care about. The fact that they would watch the anime on 2 times speed and then complain about the pacing makes me like, you do know that changing the playback speed fucks with the pacing, right? God damn. Yeah, no. They got big on shorts and like shorts and TikTok type content. So yeah, they're a pretty big name. I mean, I had never heard of them before all this, but yeah. Again, I don't really watch short form content very much. I'm very much a kind of guy who likes to put something on in the background and just listen to it. And also, I've seen a couple of their skits from this whole controversy, and they are just not very. They actually tend to do more like skits and things like that. They don't tend to actually talk about anime itself all that much. Like they don't do like anime analysis review type content. Yeah, a lot of like late zoomer Gen Alpha type humor. Like they have that one, what is it, the 6-7 meme? I don't even understand that one, and I don't want to. Like the only number meme I like is 42069. But yeah, honestly, their humor just is not very funny to me, and they also just have the Mr. Beast style editing that kind of annoys me. Like it was fine when it was something that some people did, but like now that like everybody seems to do it, it just kind of annoys the crap out of me. But yeah, honestly, their content's not for me. And they did actually make a response to the whole backlash where they tried to review a lot of the stuff they fucked up in their original video. And while I think their review is still pretty crap because they essentially just didn't review it, they kind of just went over some of the history of the various shows they were talking about, which is an improvement, but not much of one. They do actually seem to have kind of taken the criticism on the chin, and they do actually appear to be embracing a desire to improve. So, like honestly, it's one of those cases where it just kind of depends on where they go from here. If they improve, I think that's great. I want to encourage that kind of thing. But yeah, they're still not very good at media analysis, even when they approach it from the right attitude. I I probably shouldn't clown on them too much for their re-reviews still being bad, just because you don't learn that shit in 3 weeks. It takes a while. It takes a lot of practice. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at media analysis in general, and it took me fucking years of practice to get good at it. So you can't expect them to get it right after one controversy and just suddenly go from shit to really, really good. Like, you can't expect that. But I just hope they don't think that talking about the history and influence and all that stuff is a substitute for an actual review. I'll be honest. I think just getting me talking about stuff is probably a lot more entertaining than anything else I could be doing, because like, honestly, I don't want my streams to be just like a watch party, which, I mean, I know it's kind of what it is, but like, I'm making a point to try to talk about it as much as possible, and that's what I think. I know my philosophy is, if I'm going to be watching something that somebody else created on stream, I got to make it my own, essentially. And yeah, and I don't mind. And honestly, just on a personal level, one thing I'm liking about doing these live streams is I am actually getting better at speaking because of that. And part of it is I'll express my thoughts in ways, because my ADHD riddled brain, I oftentimes kind of have trouble formulating my thoughts into a coherent manner, which is one of the reasons most of my online presence is scripted, where I can put my thoughts onto paper and just condense them and edit them and make them correct before I actually let anybody else look at them. So this is actually helping me get better at actually speaking my mind and remaining on topic is probably not the right way to put it, because, as Alan said, we do go on tangents quite a lot, but it is actually helping me speak without completely losing my train of thought. So I'm perfectly okay with people distracting me. I actually do kind of feel like a little bit self-conscious if I go too long without having something substantial to say, just because I feel like then I kind of feel like I'm leeching a bit, which I don't want to do, because as somebody who creates content myself, like, edited content that actually takes a decent amount of effort, I understand the thought process that goes into this kind of creative venture, and why I would want people to respect my content if they were to watch it on stream. So I try to respect other people's content when I do the same. Previous some of the issue with previous streams having Mushoku Tensei references, those kind of came from me, just because I've been playing Hades 2, and there's one of the bosses is called Eris, and there's another boss, there's a boss trio, and one of the trio is nicknamed Roxy. So yeah. What I have done on stream, on the Sunday streams, a couple of times, which I want to do continue. I haven't done it for the past couple of weeks, but I do want to continue it. Is I have actually been watching some video essays after Mushoku Tensei, and so far I did what I have watched so far. I think has been it's been fun for me. I've enjoyed it, and I think I've created some pretty decent stream content from that. Yeah, I've done that, and it's one of those things where I did trial. If you actually look at my most recent upload that's not like a live stream. It is actually a stream segment of reacting to a Mushoku Tensei video essay. And I did edit it, so there's, I cut out some dead air and highlighted comments that I'm responding to in real time, because again, I think a little bit of editing goes a long way with like stream reactions. I don't think I'm gonna keep uploading those. I'm just, the more I think about it, the more I think I don't really want that to kind of oversaturate my edited content. If anything, maybe I'll create a separate channel just for stream highlights and clips and stuff, and then, but that would be a lot of effort just because I would have to do a lot of editing, even the light editing that I do for that. But no, that's something potentially in the future. Maybe it's one of those things. Also, maybe once I grow bigger and start making some more money, I can maybe hire an editor, but we'll see. Yeah. I mean, I thought that stream, that guy's video ended up not provoking, but like inducing a lot of interesting discussion for that stream. I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. I mean, ultimately, again, that's why I'm thinking I'm gonna probably put that in the future on a separate channel, just because, again, it just seems like it's too different from my normal content. And I will also say, yeah, shorter clips are probably better. Although, just personally as a viewer, I tend to prefer longer stuff, just because that's just how I am. Granted, I am also a YouTube viewer who watches things on the side or in the background, like at work. That's one thing I do. I listen to videos while I'm at work. So, and I'll be honest, it's actually because of listening to stuff at work. That's actually why I'm starting to get into some of the VTubers. Is they make these like nice like hour-long videos I can just put on while I work. It's good. Honestly, I don't really care if something provokes some hate. I think that as far as the content I cover, the stuff I produce, I'm pretty much like immune to anything anybody can say about me, because again, like as far as Mushoku Tensei goes, I've covered stuff that is so much worse than even the worst interpretation of Mushoku Tensei. So again, anything people can say about me, it's nothing I haven't jokingly said about. Oh, so Sandwichman hasn't gotten to that point in the light novels yet. So yeah, you're in for a fun time when you experience Turning Point 4 because I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything, but in my opinion, that is kind of where the series gets to the point where you kind of know roughly where it's going. Like you kind of have an idea of what the end game is going to be, kind of where everybody stands and what Rudy's ultimate goal is. And also it's just the turning point itself just is one of my favorite moments from a writing perspective in the entire series, like because it's one of these things that like if I described it to you on paper it sounds like it should suck, but I think the execution was really fucking good, and it does a lot of like really just exciting things. So I cannot wait to see everybody kind of lose their fucking minds when it happens. Sorry, gotta pause it for a second because yeah, okay. It's sorry, YouTube kind of caught the audio. So I am going to mute said audio real quick. So apologies to the YouTube viewers, but we're gonna have to go on mute. So yeah, yeah. Let me just double check. Yeah, okay, yeah. It looks like it's working. I'll have to figure something out. I have an idea of how I can actually set this up so that the audio issue is fixed, and also it would actually save me some time in for the Sunday streams because then I wouldn't have to do it. Because here I'll actually explain kind of what I want to do. So this is a program I used to use for my videos. This was before I got my current mic, which has a lot of interesting built-in software. Honestly, Unkept, that you say that, but that's actually one of the issues that the people had with the TheAnimeMen's video because they watched all their anime at 2x speed. But so I don't know if I can use this software or a similar software, but essentially, if I can find a software input and actually find a way to either either have a simulated hardware input or an actual hardware input. I don't use it anymore, but I used to. Yeah, because again, my current microphone comes with software that's actually pretty good. So that's just what I use. So what you're hearing now is actually just my built-in software. Plus, I think I also have just a noise suppression filter on OBS. Oh shit! What the fuck? Oh, fuck off. Okay, sorry about that. But yeah. But yeah, so what I kind of want to do is that I think would work for the stream if I can get it to work. I have to really sit down with it, and I might not be able to use voice meter for it, but if I can have a virtual soundboard like this and have the desktop audio as an input, then I can add the audio effects there, and then have the output go to OBS, and then that'll kind of do things like the fact that I have the reverb on the Sunday streams usually. If I can just do that through voice meter, I can actually have it sound good on my own and for the other platforms without fucking up with YouTube's copyright system because yeah, because they are I'm noticing they're starting to catch these streams a little bit more than they used to. But I'm gonna have to play around with that, see if I can make that work. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Fist of the North Star is any good personally, but it is on the list, so we are going to watch that. That's 1984. So yeah, we still got a good amount of anime to go before that. I don't know much about Fist of the North Star, but I'll be honest, I don't care how cringe it is. I am unironically excited to see the meme in full context. Okay. So I do find it interesting that this demon's whole thing is his like acid, but he just like hasn't been using it. But I do like his design. That's pretty cool. And I do like how a lot of them are just having wings on their head. Okay. And that does seem to be a consistent thing that it looks like they're doing is they're having him get injured and then having the villains exploit that injury every single time. Like that feels like it could get old pretty fast. Yeah, and again, like I've been saying for the past couple episodes, is that these fight scenes, while not necessarily the best animation, just the framing of them and the ideas behind what they're trying to do are very cool. And again, I love how he's like Devil Chop, and it's just him slapping the shit out of him. Again, this is so silly, but it knows what it's doing. Okay, but that is pretty neat. I like those little animations of him kind of reconstituting himself. Ooh. His devil fluid. Yeah, he is. I mean, again, like I've been saying throughout the stream, it clearly takes some influence from old superhero media as well as, you know, little notes from horror. Like this really does feel like a Silver Age superhero movie. I mean, superhero comic book thing. Oh, okay, okay. That's okay. That's an interesting way to combat him, although I don't think that was set up super well. I don't know. I mean, I don't actually hate that resolution to the conflict. I just wish they set it up a little better. If they really emphasized the slug connection. Okay. I'm also kind of wondering when Xenon will kind of, you know, get smart and stop sending them one by one at him. Okay. Okay, so that's the end of that. Honestly, I really like that. I mean, it has some issues, but overall, just as a total product, this was a fun show. And this is also probably another one that I might end up watching on my own time. With the other one being Dororo. Those two are the ones that I've actually been like interested in watching beyond that. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. It has a lot going for it, and honestly, if I keep watching this, let me see. Is there any Okay, so it looks like it's just the 39 episodes. So, yeah, I'll probably give it a bit more of a watch on my own time, and maybe then I'll be interested in picking Devilman Crybaby up again because that kind of that show had a lot of interesting things going on, but I don't know, it didn't quite capture me. But again, if I actually do finish this, but yeah, I like this. It was fun. It definitely has some issues. I think some of the writing is a little bit, eh, but it has a lot of really cool ideas underneath it. Clearly, a lot of thought went into the choreography, and there are a lot of little complex ideas that you could tell that the writers really cared about putting together a good story. And of course, the animation quality, not quite what I would have liked to see, but not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Overall, this one is probably going to get an A rank, an A tier. That most likely. Like personally, like if it was just based on personal enjoyment, I'd probably give it an S tier. But I think some of the technical aspects do hold it back a bit. So it's going to go like high A tier, not quite next to Dororo, but like it's up there. So yeah, so that's going to be all for today. Tomorrow, I do have a thing that I need to do in the morning, so there's a chance that the stream could be delayed tomorrow, but probably not. I should be home well in time to have that. I just don't know exactly how the time is going to work out, but tomorrow at noon Eastern time, we're going to be picking back up, and because it's a Saturday stream, we're going to be getting through 3 series. We're going to be watching Doraemon, then Heidi, Girl of the Alps, and then UFO Robo Grendizer. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but yeah, that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow, getting through that, and then that'll be 1973, 4, and 5. So that'll be a pretty nice milestone to get to 1975. So yeah, I had a good time watching this with you guys today. It's too bad that there was some copyright issues right towards the end, but you know, what are you gonna do? So, but that being said, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate anyone who showed up, whether you were chatting, lurking, or anything in between. I will Grandizer. Okay, Grandizer. Okay, that makes it. That makes as much sense as anything else. So, yep. Hopefully I'll see some of you guys tomorrow. Again, maybe there's a delay, but I don't think so. All right, later.